The championship leader is deep in the pack. His primary rivals for the title are up front for the start. And we are ready to go racing before a huge crowd at Kansas. Pink and black car did not get through turns 1 and 2 well at all.
No, he had a big wiggle as he tried to exit turn 2.
Mark Martin's going to lead lap 1. Casey Kane in second in the 5. Eric Almirola in a car they were rebuilding in the garage area this morning slides through the third in the 43. Jimmy Johnson on the move, 48. Racing with Joey Logano there. That's for 6th and 7th. And for 2nd place, again, Almirola.
Right off the bat, that second lane's pretty good. I know Casey Kane lost his spot right there, and he gets a little loose off turn 2. I see a lot of action up there on the start of the race. Mark took the lead from up there.
Kyle Busch through. Ryan Newman through Casey Kane.
I believe these cars that we see struggling, the drivers with their cars right now, are probably a little bit on the loose side. You have a new surface, the speeds are up there, but it makes it very difficult to handle that loose situation.
Clint Boyer trying to regain some lost ground, working on Jimmy Johnson for the 8th spot.
The situation right here, that inside car, you think is going to have the advantage. We saw Jimmy Johnson give him a little bit more room right there. If they stay tucked up right there side to side, it makes that inside car get extremely loose in the corner.
At Kenseth 17, A.J. Allmendinger 51.
That 51 car with Allmendinger looks pretty strong. He's been pretty strong all week. In about top 15 car just about the whole time.
How long is it going to take you as a driver to feel out how much of that top lane you can use and to what extent?
Yeah, it's going to take a while. I mean, you're just going to be easing into the throttle. You're not going to drive it off into the corner. And so that means that your speed in the center of the corner is not going to be as great. This is what we're going to see a lot of, too. Although Allmendinger not able to make that pass there, but we will see some cars utilize that with a big draft down the front straightaway.
Almirola closing in on Mark Martin for the race lead up front. And Jamie, there was a big crowd around this 43 car just before it rolled off onto the racetrack.
Well, there sure was. Right after they said gentlemen start, he fired it up and said, I'm not getting any fuel pressure. He said, as soon as I let off the throttle, it quits running. So they had engineers, everybody looking at it. Of course, they couldn't do anything to fix it. So we'll keep an eye on it, Alan.
It's got fuel pressure now, Jamie. He just took the lead.
Yeah, he solved the problem. He just doesn't let off the gas. That's it.
43 looks stout.
Good perspective from that shot, just how fast they're going. Here on this new pavement of Kansas, we saw some speeds in practice on Saturday of 207 miles an hour into turn 1.
Yeah, it's going to be the fastest part of the racetrack. You get through, if you enter turn 3 here, and can get back to the gas so early, these drivers are telling me, way before the center of the corner. Therefore, you're carrying a lot of speed on the exit in corner. The trioval's the fastest part. There's well over 200.
Sorry, Dale, there's your championship leader, Brad Keselowski, started 25th, settled into line, and he's trying to pick him off one at a time, Dave.
I thought it was interesting in the pre-race, Brad talked about how Paul Wolfe, his crew chief, and Brad believe in each other. Well, I'll tell you who else he's believing in right now. His spotter, Joey Meyer. Joey has been practically non-stop talking to his driver. Starting back that far, he's got lots of cars to pass, inside, outside, and he's been in his ear the entire first few laps of this race.
Well, it was their radio we heard that stat on the pace laps about the early wreck.
There is a set of one car right in the middle lane They're side by side. He's not moving backwards or forwards. It's the 48 beside the 17. They've been that way for 3 or 4 laps, just so you know. 5 back for the crowd. He was actually able to complete the pass on the 17 on the middle lane like the Nationwide cars. 5 back to the 78.
That's good information he's giving him, just so he knows if he finds himself in that situation that, hey, that second lane is pretty good. You can use it.
Right now, Kozlowski working on Juan Pablo Montoya to try and get 21st position away in these opening laps. Eric Almirola in Richard Petty's 43 started in 5th position. He's running first after just 11 laps of today's 400-miler. Caution-free so far at Kansas Speedway in race 6 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Still not quite 50 miles into the event. And after Mark Martin led the opening 6 laps, Eric Almirola blasted by him in that 43 car. And he's moved away from second place by nearly 5 seconds. Now, Jamie, when I saw this 43 car in the garage this morning, the right side was unpainted, undecaled, on anything.
Well, they had what you could call a little issue yesterday in happy hour. Of course, Eric Almirola, you see him waving out the window saying thank you very much for moving out of my way. Had a little incident, was pushing it. They were so good in all the practice sessions. He ended up sliding up the track, got into the wall on the right-hand side. Thankfully for this team and this rocket ship of a car, we have a caution on the track, guys.
Got one car that's gotten into the wall there. It looks like Casey Mears in the 13.
Trying to get it around here. Brakes are done. We gotta go to the garage.
Yeah, he's hit the wall so hard it looks like he maybe broke the brake rotor, which I'll have to put that back on and fix that before they go back out.
Yeah, we're feeling the guys.
Oh, yeah, you can see that tire let go right there.
Who got the 4 tires. And Hamlin aggressive there, bottom of the screen in that black number 11, 3 wide, and gets a couple of spots into turn 1.
Al Busch is trying to lead. Eric Almirola not wanting to give this spot up. He likes it out front.
Whoa, hang on there, Kyle.
Wow, that 43 is strong.
Ryan Newman showed a little muscle there on the bottom.
These guys showing up here, you don't have to be a part of the chase to want to win this race out here today.
Almirola clears Kyle Busch. Ryan Newman trying to work to the inside of Kyle for second. 39 car.
Had a little contact between the 17 and the 55.
And look at this scramble. They're all over the place. 4 wide here. Oh, that's close.
Looks like Mark Martin got forced out of the groove and then kind of caused a big scramble right there in that groove.
Mark was running 6th. Here it is.
It's just the arrow that we were talking about. We saw this a couple of times yesterday in the Nationwide race. What looked like some contact, it was just getting right there. We're seeing these cars run closer together. And I'm looking going down the front straightaway. They're 4 wide. Wow.
Spins.
Yellow's out, yellow's out, yellow's out. Think you got a tire down, just go right to your box, leaders into 2.
Kyle Busch from racing side by side with Almirola for the lead after the restart to spinning through the tri-oval grass and bringing out the caution.
He may have got away with it. Don't see any damage.
Turn your radiator fan off, shake it, see if you can get the grass up your grill.
Yeah, that started back in the corner as he tried to exit. Was in the gas hard, but you can see the car wiggle, and it was just a matter of trying to keep it off the wall.
Eric Almirola on the inside lane, the race leader getting a good jump on Ryan Newman. Newman hanging tough on the outside for a challenge from Jimmy Johnson for second.
See A.J. Allmendinger back there trying to make a move on Craig Biffle.
Allmendinger having a great run here. Got that 51 car up in 5th spot right now. Casey Kane trying to make that higher line work. He saw Greg Biffle go by him earlier, and Biffle right in front of him.
Logano thought Logano was going to look down a little lower there for 3 wide. Here's a couple wide behind him. Martin Truex Jr., 56, and the championship leader, Brad Keselowski, in the 2. That's 9th place that just changed hands. Wide. Casey Kane in that 5 had all kind of troubles getting up off of turn number 2.
Yeah, looks like they still just don't have its car tightened up enough for Casey Kane yet.
A lot of people talked to me in the garage this morning and yesterday about how critical restarts were going to be from behind the wheel. That because of the aerodynamics and the speed and the hard tires and all of the different elements that go into today's race, when you're doubled up for that restart and they wave the green flag, you must be aggressive and get everything you can as quickly as you can.
Yeah, and it's the most tense moments as a driver. As you can see right there, Casey Kane getting a little bit loose again. Martin Truex trying to take advantage, going to the apron, try to make this pass. Not going to quite get there this time, but really a tense moment. You're jacked up for this, the double file restarts. You know there's not a lot of racing room, but it's an opportunity that you really have to strike.
Out front by nearly 2 seconds, but right behind him, one of the chasers. Let's get up to speed with them, Dave.
10-4 on the loose race cars. That includes second place Jimmy Johnson right now. He just radioed in to his crew that the car is loose, and the response back was all the way through. He says, well, when I'm exiting the corner and I'm getting fully on the gas, then it's fine. But other than that, 48 car is loose, Vince.
Well, running in 3rd place on the track is Greg Biffle. Biffle came into this race 6th in points, but he's been hot lately, gained 5 positions the last 2 races, and they knew they had a good race car again today, and Biffle has proven it. They did make a track bar adjustment on that first stop, but Biffle says it's real good right now. Doc?
Running back in 4th spot, Matt Kenseth, not worried about winning a championship, pretty much out of it. They're worried about trying to run up front and win races. They changed 2 tires when they came in, and Matt says after air pressure out of the front, the car really loose on entry. Hard to get the car in using the throttle. Vince.
Casey Kane started on the pole, but right now he's running 7th. He dropped back almost immediately. The car's been hitting the splitter at the beginning of the run, but then as the run goes, the car comes to him. Kane just radioed, we're getting a lot better right now. Casey Kane currently running 7th. Jamie?
And Martin Truex Jr. started this race 16th, running 9th right now. Remember, back here in June, he was the class of the field. He led 173 laps, only to be passed with 30 to go and ended up 2nd. They're here for redemption. The car's been a little tight, but going forward, Dave.
Great recovery so far for the championship leader, Brad Keselowski, coming into today's race. Started 25th, took on 2 right side tires on that first run. It was tight in the first run. This run, though, quite a bit looser, Brad has radioed in. Another one of those cars that's a little bit too free, Doc.
How about Kansas Clint back in 11th spot? He grew up in the farm country of Kansas, and that's appropriate because right now Clint said this car is plowing. He said, I can't get in the corner. The car will not turn coming up off, although basically he has now moved up to the top of the racetrack in turns 1 and 2. He said just now he is finding some more speed up there. Now back behind him as far as chases are concerned, Denny Hamlin, who was running 6th, took 4 tires, restarted back in 19th, and now has gained a couple of spots. Denny's issue right now is that the car is just too loose to run up high. They told Denny, if you can move the car up a little bit, we can get more speed. He said, I can't get up there right now. I am just very loose. Jamie.
And Jeff Gordon started this race 19th, running 18th right now. Before the last stop, he said he was a little tight on throttle, and when they came in, they took right sides and fuel. And then his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, said, that was my fault. We should have taken fuel only. Right now, Jeff Gordon's saying he has a little bit of vibration, and he's lost some grip, Vince.
Tony Stewart qualified 33rd, didn't get a good qualifying lap, so they knew there was going to be a big challenge for them making their way up through the field, especially with this narrow groove. car started tight. They put a spring rubber in the right rear on that first stop. And Tony says right now the front end just is not working good enough. Whether or not that's something that's aero-related or car-related, they're still trying to figure that out. The 29 of Kevin Harvick, he says it's just way too loose. They did come in and top off earlier, so they've got about an 8 or 9 lap advantage from that perspective on the competition. They say their cars are better than what their finishing results have been in the chase. Still haven't scored their first chase top 10. Nicole?
6 chasers in the top 10, but they are all chasing one driver, and that is Eric Almirola, who at this point in the race has been out front for 61 laps. We're at lap 69 with green flag pit stops. Coming up, more from the new Kansas Speedway coming up in just a few minutes.
Digger's car about to be towed away after a very hard impact. You see AJ is out of the car and okay. Watch that red and white 51 car.
Just as he's entering 3, right front tire lets go. Hard impact into the wall, but he is out of the car and okay.
Yeah, one thing though, he felt something, it looked like earlier, and he slowed down some down the back straightaway, so maybe it wasn't quite as hard as it could have been.
Unfortunately, had a
Big jam on the restart. Almirola had trouble getting going in the 43.
He didn't have any trouble getting off turn 2.
Yeah.
But it did stack things up behind him. They've gotten single file back for about 12 cars.
Brad Keselowski, the championship leader, back in 16th position. Shuffling and scrambling around him. Trying to gain all they can in the first few laps on this restart.
Yeah, this is not where Brad Keselowski wants to be right now. He'd gotten himself out of that position.
And they took 4 tires on their pit stop and they put them back.
Carl Edwards with a big run there. How about that strategy with the 2, Dave?
I was going to say, the car passing him, Carl Edwards, they took 4 tires as well. For Brad, though, it was as much about a little track bar adjustment as well. They went down on that. The car was just a little bit loose at the very end of that run. Look at Montoya.
Right now what it's about for Brad is being pinned in behind Kevin Harvick, who looks like he's struggling a little bit. Look at the back end of that 29 car twitching around.
You can see Harvick really having a tough time with this car. Like the 2 is going to get by him here. Kenseth also got 4 tires on that last stop, and that put him back in the pack a little bit.
Trying to make up some ground, as is Kyle Busch, who, remember, was running second when he spun out and went all the way back to 33rd a few laps back at lap 40, Dave.
Allen had made his way up to 22nd and gained another 10 positions on pit road when they didn't change tires. They just took on fuel, made a slight adjustment for a car that was tight in the front end, but that no tire change is costing him right now.
Yeah, I tell you, when you put fuel in and no tires, always going to make you a little bit loose on the start. You see Kyle really fighting this. And Andy, what we've seen, I'd be a little skeptical of not putting right sides on.
Well, I would do it. Since we've seen a couple of problems already, I would really want to put right side tires on my car every time I got a chance. Just so I wouldn't have the most laps on mine as we go through these cycles.
Joey Logano and Kyle Busch for 14th and 15th positions. Jimmy Johnson out in front. Eric Almirola there. Now clear of the traffic, trying to chase him back down in second. We've just gone back racing from the 3rd caution of the day when A.J. Allmendinger had a hard contact. We have trouble off turn 4. Jeff Burton.
And Burton tagged the ball pretty good off turn 4.
Caution is out.
Right front fender damage, y'all. It's rubbing. Right front fender is busted at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. No, it hit pretty hard.
Jeff Burton had a wiggle, a wobble, and then a hit. And the caution is out for the 4th time. Cleaning up from the 3rd. All right, let's take a look at this first.
You're Going to see him get sideways here. Jamie Murray up on the high side, but Burton's down the bottom. See Tony Stewart up. May have been a little contact right there.
Yeah, it's the second time we've seen Kurt Busch in that 78 make a bold move down on the bottom. I think he figured something out on these restarts.
Yeah, he's pretty racy here today. Got this car up near the top 5.
Mark Martin 55, Clint Boyer 15 for third, while Almirola tries to press Johnson for the race lead. And here's Kurt Busch again, looking for that apron. Close there. That's close.
Yeah, Mark Martin was wanting to get his car back down to the bottom, but you could see his teammate, Martin Truex Jr., had a nice run there, and Mark decided to give just a little bit of room there.
Regan Smith from the 88 started way back in the pack. 39th place. A little bit of a long green flag run here at Kansas, and so it's about time for the pit crews to go to work again. Some have had more work to do than others during the course of the day. Kyle Busch's team, after that spin through the grass, having to tune him up, and Brad Keselowski's team with the 4-tire change, an extra stop, if you will, a little while ago that put him back in the pack and gives him a little further to run on this green flag than some of the front runners like Jimmy Johnson. There's the race for the lead, 48-43. Johnson and Aric Almirola. Impressive drive for this 43 team today. Richard Petty Motorsports announcing here this weekend they'd re-signed with Ford for next season rather. And race leader going to hit the pit lane. That transition Rusty was talking about on NASCAR Countdown that's a little abrupt on a green flag stop. And Jimmy Johnson just made the turn, Dave.
Remember earlier he was talking about his car being good on landing and then off the corner, so a little edgy in. They had a wrench in their hand earlier, the crew did, so as he gets 4 tires, you'll see wedge adjustment in the left rear of the 48 car. This all happening on lap 119 for Jimmy, and he leaves. Jamie.
And Mark Martin in the 55 getting his call down pit road. Too tight is what we're hearing. Up and down pit road is the problem. As the run goes on, they get tighter. 4-tire call here for the 55 of Mark Martin, who's had a great car today.
And guys, what a run for Kurt Busch. 29th all the way to 3rd. They've only changed right side tire twice. Left sides have now been on for 120 laps. He was getting a vibration here 3 laps ago. This pit stop could have come at a better time. First 4-tire stop of the day for Kurt Busch and the Furniture Row team. Jamie.
Martin Truex Jr. said he was just getting a little snug, not really tight yet. 4-tire call for him as well. They'll fill him up with Sunoco fuel, and he's been good to go.
Car up the track in turn 2. It was the leader, Aric Almirola. You saw it on the right side of the screen. He's gotten into the wall with the right front corner of that 43 car. Went 1 lap too far.
Caution in.
And the caution flag for debris from the 43 car.
That's a tough break for that team as well. A great car. Gonna catch a lot of guys though that just made pit stops.
Tony Stewart, NASCAR calling out, is okay to pass the caution car because he was past the point on pit road you needed to be.
I was waiting to hear from them there, but I thought Tony was okay. Clinton Boyer, the leader, looked like he was ahead of him there.
So again, a 3rd time today, a car seems to have trouble on the right front. This time it was the guy who's led more than anyone else in this race, Aric Almirola, and he was leading.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Look look at Matt Kenseth with the run around the outside, up into the lead.
3 wide right behind him. Paul Menard there in the middle.
Biffle just blast by him.
That 16 has been fast today.
See Paul Menard up in 4th spot. First race back for Slugger Labby. Doing a great job for this team, getting it back on track.
Crew chief has been coming back from a suspension by NASCAR for a technical violation.
How about that move by Ryan Newman?
Wow, did you see Kyle Busch have to jump on the brakes there? You could visibly see that 18 car slowing down.
I'd say when it was slowing down, you can see the back wheels were sliding, look like.
Just how many of them using that apron coming down the front straightaway to get some clean air on them, making a shorter way around and making passes, making a lot of speed.
All this is from 7th place on back. Front 6 have sorted out single file. Casey Kane in that 5, continuing the trend of struggling in the first few laps after a restart. First handful of laps, really.
Third, you see him up to 15th, and they also had an issue just this past time on the yellow with their right rear. Take a listen.
All right, bud. We had a right rear going flat. We were 8 pounds down there. So made some adjustments here. See what we got.
Now, they made a 4-tire change and a wedge adjustment, but I just was talking to the tire guy on the 14. They said they actually had run over some debris under caution. It punctured the sidewall. Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson has hit the wall in turn 4. And a race he was leading.
Stay on the racetrack if you can.
A race he was leading just moments ago through a turn of events that put him back in traffic, has put him in the wall.
Get her into the garage here.
I noticed Jimmy there as we showed him it back in the pack. Looked like his car was extremely loose in that situation where he was having some difficulty in trying to make passes.
All right, guys, we're going to need a deck lid. We'll stop here in their pit. Maybe we can take a look at it.
Chad Knaus looking at
What
those
happened there,
pictures
Earl?
from us.
I just
And trying to get a look at his race car. And let's show you what happened to Jimmy Johnson, running 20th at the time.
Boy, he just swapped ends on him. And when you're back in the pack like that, I mean, your car just does not drive like it did when you were up in the first part of the field and maybe even up the lead like he was.
Matt Kenseth is at right now.
Boy. I want to look at the right side of that 2 car if we can. He might have just nudged the wall a little bit in that jam up off of turn 2.
Looks clean, though.
Yeah. Okay. Just saw a little bit of smoke there. Maybe it was just the dust right up against the wall. He was so close to it. Racing with Kyle Busch is Keselowski. That's for 9th place. Casey Kane, Joey Logano right behind them. Just joining us, Kyle Busch trying to come back from a spin out, running 2nd earlier in the race. 3 wide here.
Not where the points leader wants to be.
That's where he's not going to be. He's backed off.
Better not back off too quickly. That 14 car is still trying to charge.
They've been working on this 14 all day long, even to the point that it worked so much they left a wrench in it at one time, had to come back in and get it out. But it's like they've got him a little more racy right now.
Like I said at the start of the show, these other repays have been good to Tony Stewart. He's finished no worse than 3rd in the last 3 of them.
Martin Truex Jr., 56, now going to work on Kyle Busch to see if he can get that spot. That's 12th place.
Now, Kyle Busch's car just has not been the same since he spun earlier. Obviously, he was a little too loose at that time, but I'm not sure what that slide through the grass may have damaged, but just doesn't seem to be up to his liking.
Not pictured, unscheduled stop for Juan Pablo Montoya, who had gone up to the wall in turn 2 a lap ago and has brought his car onto and now off of the pit lane. Ryan Newman, Greg Biffle had a moment there, racing for 5th and 6th place. You saw Newman get out a little wider than maybe he cared to, but gather it back up.
Paul Menard there in second, having a great run here today. Yep. Looked like he was going to win the nationwide race yesterday. Had a great run, but just as they got ready for the last restart, ran out of fuel.
Kurt Busch, he's still having a pretty strong run.
Yeah, Kurt, one of the guys caught by the caution flag, just like Jimmy Johnson, just after the cycle of green flag pit stops started, had to take the wave around and go all the way to the back of the field. He was running as high as 3rd earlier in the race.
Yeah, Mark Martin there in the 55, same scenario. Got caught on that, but making his way back towards the front.
Well, you're right. I believe they did get that 5-car fixed up. They had some problems with it hitting the racetrack earlier. Looks like they fixed all that.
Casey Kane running in 8th position now. Regan Smith in the 88 has just been kicked back to 9th.
So you having fun? Yeah. I'd be having more fun with about 6 more spots up, or 7, wherever I'm running. Yeah, man. We're with you on that. Get it. I just got to get these restarts figured out, because that's everything. I mean, we have a good restart, we go forward the whole run. We have a bad restart, then, you know, just making up whatever I lost.
There you go.
Yeah, and it's always more fun when you're going forward. There's no doubt about that. But he is doing a nice job with this car today.
88 car racing there now with Keselowski for 9th position, Dave.
And he might consider this a bad restart. He lost 2 positions, and he radioed in right away. Hey, the front turns, but no rear grip in or off the corner.
You probably want some grip in these corners. Ooh, trouble, turn 1. Danica Patrick, Landon Castle tangled up. Castle going for a slide.
Yeah, we did not hit anything. Did not hit anything.
Here's the reason we were under the caution flag. Danica Patrick and Landon Castle with an extended tangle.
Well, rule number 1 of stock car racing is learn how to wreck someone without wrecking yourself.
As we go back racing.
How do these torn up race cars in 3rd and 4th perform up here in the front? Almirola and Johnson.
Three wide. Little sense of urgency on these restarts. Martin, Hamlin, Johnson, Boyer, Kenseth. Now the top 5. Check that. That's Almirola sliding in front of Kenseth to get that number 5 spot. And as they sort it out on the restart, we check in the garage with Dave.
Danica drove her car in, climbed from it. Are you okay? And what happened between you and Landon?
Yeah, I'm fine. You know, I've just been really frustrated with the 83. He slammed into me on the front straight for no other reason than his radio communication of she was in the way. And I've always played fair, but if it's one time I can imagine frustration, but it's been pretty consistent with him getting into me. So at some point in time, I got to stand up for myself, or everybody's going to do it. So the bummer is that this was my Texas car, that we were having a good run, that we were making the car better, and I'm out of the race and he's not.
You have this is the final race with Greg Zipadelli, veteran crew chief. He talked to you for a while afterwards. Any words of wisdom?
Be honest.
Thanks for being honest. Danica will join us again in Texas, not with this race car, though. Alan?
And Dave, as folks saw while you were interviewing Danica, Tony Stewart went for a slide off of turn number 2, running 11th at the time. He needs some new tires on that car, but he's lucky he doesn't need more.
Yeah, definitely battling Casey Kane right here, and you can see that situation that we talked about, that inside car coming up out of the corner. You just don't have all the air on the side of the car and on the spoiler. Tony does a great job here.
All the tires are blowing out.
This time, Mark Martin, the race leader, choosing the outside lane. Denny Hamlin is to his inside. And Clint Boyer to his inside.
Look at Paul Menard to the high side. Put Hamlin in the middle.
We were worried about it being single file.
Oh, trouble. Trevor Bayne, Marcus Ambrose. Caution is out again.
Hold the brakes. Hold the brakes. Come on down. No rear end damage here. Splitter damage. You'll need to take it to the garage, Tim. I can't tell. I can't see the back.
I probably should look this up before I say it out loud, but I'm wondering if there's a full moon tonight. You know how races on your Saturday night short track always go a little crazy when there's a full moon?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't know what the answer to this is. I mean, we expected some action. Look at this.
Looked like Ambrose just...
What car does he drive? Eric Almirola in that 43. Into the wall earlier while leading. Going back after the lead on Mark Martin. Oh, and around.
Gathered up here. Spun off of 2 guys. Looked like right front went down the tail spot.
We stay under the green. Almirola safely back around to the pit lane. And Mark Martin now with a little bit of a pad out in front. He was side by side with Almirola off of turn number 2.
Just once again gets loose on the exit there. You can see a great job that they did behind.
Let's see, Matt Kenseth also got a piece of the wall.
All cleared. Easy. Keep coming now.
Pretty hard hit by the 17 right there.
Have not called it. Keep going.
I'm sure that Mark Martin kept waiting for a caution because he knew that something had to happen there.
Oh, Biffle into the wall hard in the 16.
Just hold the brake here if you can. Just hold it right in the pit stall. Nice and easy. There you go. All right, Rex, this is bad.
Running in 3rd position, and that car just got away, and he hit the wall hard. Now already back in his pit stall.
I don't know, I just looked going straight in the wall. I don't know if he overcorrected from a loose situation off the corner. Just snapped around. Hit hard.
Yep. See it start just getting sideways then. Hard into the wall.
So one thing about this new configuration, there's not a lot of room to chase the car off the turn.
More than anybody else. Don't count them out.
Allen back to green.
Here we go. And what'll it be this time? And how many laps? The slow car of Greg Biffle just in front of the race leaders as they come by at full speed. And the Biff gets out of the way. trying to just get back up to speed after repairs to his car. Mark Martin leads. Clint Boyer second. Denny Hamlin third. Fourth, 27 Menard trying to ease in front of Casey Kane in the 5. Brian Newman looking for some running room around Kyle Busch. Oh, trouble. Into the walls, the 18, and more trouble. Sam Hornish collected. Newman's torn up. And the yellow flag's out again.
Fire it up and get a roll in if you can.
Points leader Keselowski just barely missed this, too. That happened right in front of Brad.
This was a race for 7th place that something funny was going on about halfway down the back straightaway with it. And continued right on around through 3 and 4. Ends up with a few torn up race cars.
And Newman gets in the back of Kyle Busch. He was already loose. Kyle was pretty much all day. But you can see just how close that was for Keselowski.
Well, he drove right in between everything that was happening.
All right, Dave. 79 laps to go. That's now 5 restarts that Mark Martin has managed to get away from whoever was lined up to his inside. Now left to race for second, Clint Boyer and Paul Menard, 15 and 27.
Well, that inside's been tough to try to make a pass on. We've seen some of the best trying to make this pass and lose it. Boyer's going to slip back to third.
Ambrose, the free pass at that last caution. He's back on the lead lap.
They could just possibly stretch this. I'll tell you, I'll be surprised if they can, but I've seen some stranger things this year.
There's the hand out the window. Signaling the drivers behind him. So look for Denny Hamlin to slow right here.
Mark Truex almost didn't see that.
Yeah. 59 laps to go, Doc.
Denny Hamlin has gone 71 laps. So you heard all those caution laps Alan was talking about. They'll have to go 58 from here on out. 58 and a half laps. So they think they can do it with very few caution laps. Because Denny does such a great job saving fuel. 4 tires, wait on fuel. He got his full. He's on the way. Now he'll try to roll the dice and make it all the way to the checkered flag.
See, Mark Martin's still out there. He pitted the same time that Denny Hamlin did. We saw this team with Clint Boyer win a race last week on fuel mileage lead. We know they get good mileage. Jamie, when are we going to see Mark Martin?
And they have the wheelman behind the wheel who saved a lot of fuel. Now the guys have had their helmets on for a while. Rodney Childers' crew chief just said 4 laps. That was about 3.5 laps ago. So look for him to make his way down shortly.
All right.
So what you're telling me, it doesn't matter if we have 3 cautions in a race or if we have double-digit cautions. It still comes down to fuel mileage in these races.
And I'll tell you, if Mark Martin can make it back around to his pit stall, I think he can make it from here on that pit stop. So we'll see.
Casey Kane by Clint Boyer for 3rd position, Vince.
Since the first 2 pit stops when they had to make chassis adjustments on that car because it kept banging on the splitter, they have not touched the chassis on this 5 car. it has just gotten better and better. Casey says it's a little loose on takeoff, but once this thing gets going, it's been a rocket. They can make it on just one more stop, as most of these others can. As you see, Mark Martin has hit pit road. Jamie Little?
And they decided to bring him down a little bit early. It's going to be 4 tires. Rodney Childers asked this driver, do you want scuffs or stickers? It looks like they have stickers on the wall they're going to go with. It's going to be nice and smooth. See what he can make out of this race from here on out.
Very important not to get busted for speeding on pit road on the exit.
Sir, you will. Go. All the way, all the way.
Trouble, turn 4. Car hard on the wall. Eric Almirola.
Hey up there, buddy. Let's go ahead and stop. Looks like the fire's out. Go ahead and get out. Go ahead and get out. Just stay
Caution
close to the
out
car.
just after Denny Hamlin and Mark Martin pit.
This is one of the cars that hit the wall earlier with a right front tire. I don't know what happened here. It looks like he's done now, though.
He was running 13th at the time. Boy, what a day. Oh.
Well, there's some bad feelings as a driver in a race car, but
That's Kurt Busch. He's trying to make that move again down on the apron. Let Boyer have none of it.
Boyer to block. And Kenseth clears. Paul Menard trying to make up some ground. Lost on the pit stop. Roaring around the outside of turn 2 in that neon car number 27.
he led 110 laps in trying to win the nationwide race yesterday. Ran out of fuel at the end trying to do it.
You see Stewart sliding around, losing some of the ground made up on pit road. Martin Truex Jr. in the 56 trying to get by Tony there for 5th.
I know Tony and his team was trying to get some track position, think that would make it really help them, but their car has had handling issues all day, just putting fuel in there. We'll see how that works out for them.
Jeff Gordon for 24, Carl Edwards 99. That's 8th and 9th. Haven't called Carl's number, I don't think, at all today.
No, he looked like, and I really thought from practice yesterday he was going to have a solid day, but just hasn't been there. Right around that 10th position, back to 14th or so.
You see all the cars coming off turn 4 through all that speedy drive. They cleaned it all up. There's some residue still left up there. We see some dust. That shouldn't be any problem for all the cars coming off of that corner. Doesn't look very safe, though, but it is.
By the way, we heard from Kyle Busch earlier after his incident with Ryan Newman. Newman is back on the track in a repaired number 39. He's 37 laps down in 28th place. Keep an eye on Hamlin and see where things go in this 11 as they look to try and make it to the finish. And again, with the frequency of the caution flags today, it would surprise no one if we see another yellow flag. Oh, there it is, right there. 22 car, caution. Sam Hornish Jr.
Right side here, guys. Right side. See blue tire.
You can see the damage he already had from an earlier incident.
Yeah, I'm sure this tire failure probably from a tire rub. You can see that right front destroyed. The fender. They taped it up.
Sam running 24th. He had just taken a wave around at that last caution to come back onto the lead lap. He had taken...
1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9  10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81 82 83 84 85 86 87 88 89 90 91 92 93 94 95 96 97 98 99 100 101 102 103 104 105 106 107 108 109 110 111 112 113 114 115 116 117 118 119 120 121 122 123 124 125 126 127 128 129 130 131 132 133 134 135 136 137 138 139 140 141 142 143 144 145 146 147 148 149 150 151 152 153 154 155 156 157 158
boy. Oh.
Just glad we have these safer barriers these days for these wrong tires. Still
under the caution flag. More on that in a minute. And now losing a spot off turn 4. Kane tried to charge, make up a little ground on the restart, but Tony Stewart aggressive since they waved this green flag.
Yeah, Smoke went to the apron, picked up a few spots there.
I think he can be aggressive, but he can't hold off this 5 car. He's too fast. He's giving it a go, though.
So Stewart to 4th, Kane to 5th with Boyer and Smith right behind him. I mentioned Kane losing some positions under the caution flag. He was running 2nd at the yellow. And as Vince Welch reported to us from pit road during the commercial break. Behind Johnson, Kurt Busch, Marcos Ambrose, and then Denny Hamlin. Stories on the day, the crash for Johnson earlier when he got trapped by making a green flag pit stop, and then the yellow came out. He was back in traffic. He spun out. He hit the wall. And he's come back from that. That was back at lap 135 when Johnson hit the wall running in 20th. He's worked his way back. Denny Hamlin, same, getting trapped just after making a green flag pit stop. Instead of a cycle of stops working through and him being somewhere up in the top 6 or 7, he was way back in 23rd position for the restart. Check at 24th position after having to take a wave around, and he's got some ground to make up.
How about Jimmy Johnson coming now, getting this car back in the top 10, 1 spot behind points leader Brad Keselowski right now. It's just incredible what they've done to this car and the drive that Jimmy has in getting back into the top 10 when it looked like they were going to be relegated to a finish certainly outside the top 20.
I think he's fast enough to actually go up and drive by Brad Keselowski. He's been a couple tenths quicker here in this run.
Now, for all they've been through today, our Goodyear Superior performer, Jimmy Johnson and his team. What an effort. If they win this championship, this will be a day to write down and make note of.
Yeah, they were talking about having to come in. They were going to need a deck lid for it and all kinds of things. I really didn't think they were going to be able to fuel this car, anything else. But, Dave, they made the repairs and got him in the top 10 now.
The rolling roll of tape speeds on, and Jimmy Johnson is able to control it. That fuel question shouldn't be a problem. Remember, they came in and packed it full of fuel at the very end. But it was interesting talking to Chad Knaus this morning. We thought it was going to be a hot and sunny day versus the days we had previous. So we talked about the unknown, the unexpected. I said, you like that kind of challenge? He goes, yeah, and I think our team really responds well. Well, guess what? They've been challenged today, and they've come through.
Yes and yes. They have been challenged, and they have come through.
Well, I think they'll probably look at it in 2 ways. They're going to have missed an opportunity to take this points lead away with a fast race car from the 2. But they also have avoided disaster in the same day.
There are the championship standings, basically identical first to second as they were to start the day, with Keselowski running in 9th position, Jimmy running in 10th. Jimmy has led today, Brad has not. So the bonus point to Johnson for leading a lap. Just thinking back how after the end of the Charlotte race last week, when Keselowski and his group really gave away points for the first time in this championship, and the kind of the swagger or the confidence that they've had going through this for the first time, if that would change any. Certainly doesn't seem to have. Brad said he looked forward to coming here and showing everybody what they're really all about as a team. And then Jimmy saying, you know, it's been a really competitive chase, and I'm having a lot of fun racing the 11 and 2, and I'm really looking forward to pouring the pressure on now. There's Jimmy here on Friday.
I was wondering how much Brad was going to put up with the blocking that the 24 did down the back straightaway, but He kept his head about him, and now you can see Jimmy's going to make the pass on Gordon, it looks like. But Brad just decided to go ahead and pass him, and it looks like Gordon's starting to struggle a little bit right now.
All this going on well behind Matt Kenseth, the race leader, who's opened up a 2-second advantage on second place, Martin Truex Jr. There isn't anyone in this field that's had a trouble-free day, I don't think, so far today, including the man who's got that healthy lead right now, Matt Kenseth. Tony Stewart, Casey Kane, swapping 4th and 5th positions. Tony overcoming a pit penalty earlier for leaving with an adjustment wrench still in the back windshield of that car. A spin out off turn number 2 where somehow he didn't hit anything.
Casey Kane last lap was the quickest car on the track. Actually, it was about a 1/10 of a second quicker than the leader.
And if you weren't with us earlier in the race on that 5 car, the first 10 laps after a restart, that 5 car just was so ill-handling, Casey would give up spots and then spend the rest of the run trying to make up what he'd given up. Jimmy Johnson around Jeff Gordon. That's 9th position for Johnson. As we work now to the final 10 laps of this race. Kurt Busch just scraped the wall in the 78.
He may have a power down.
And is this going to leave anything behind it?
Coming in, there will be no yellow, right front flat.
Another driver having a frustrating day. And there have been many here today. There's a 78.
It looked like just one of those where the tire was going down, didn't really blow out. You can see the right front is down on it, though, but unfortunate for Kurt and his race team.
So Matt Kenseth. You see the Band-Aids hanging off the back bumper of that 17 car. It was earlier when Matt Kenseth got into the outside wall back at lap number 173. Eric Almirola spun in front of him, racing for the lead. In the jam up, Matt got into the outside wall with the right side of that car. He had to give up a lot of track position, pitting under a subsequent caution at lap 177 and went all the way to 24th place.
Just still amazed at how durable these race cars can be. I mean, that was a hard hit that Matt Kenseth did coming off. He was full throttle off of turn 2, slammed the right side. We saw Eric Almirola earlier after hitting the wall, so cars were really tough. But Matt Kenseth and this race team, who could have just, you know, they're out of the chase, basically, or out of the chance for a chance to win the championship, but have continued to work hard and got Matt out front.
Martin Truex Jr. not a factor at the very front of the pack for a lot of the day, but now late in the race has worked his way up to second. If he gets another caution, maybe he'll have a shot at the one that got away from him back in April here. Six laps to go.
We expected to see a ton of torn up sheet metal next week at Martinsville. I don't know if we expected to see what we saw today.
The gap from first to second has shrunk a little bit here in these last several laps. As you look at Paul Menard, very solid today in third.
Yeah, Slugger Labbe making his comeback today on top of the box after the suspension, and it looks like it's made a big difference with the team. Having a solid run today.
He's got a fast closing Casey Kane coming at him right now.
There's the story on Casey on the day. And again, the really big story, he had just gotten to second place at that last caution. And the hiccup trying to get the car refired after shutting it down to save fuel. The dropped him back to 6th.
Yeah, don't know if he would have had anything for Kenseth, but that certainly took any opportunity that he had in trying to work his way up there and see if he could battle Matt Kenseth.
I think they'll look back on that and think that they let one get away, because he has been solidly the fastest car on the track, probably the last 7 or 8, 10 laps. If he hadn't given up those spots, he'd be working on Matt Kenseth right now.
Well, certainly the conversation around Matt Kenseth entering the championship was whether a driver and team going their separate ways at the end of the championship could keep it together enough. The information would continue to flow to compete for the title. Really, it hasn't been about their competitiveness or that information flow. It's been about luck and circumstance that have taken Kenseth out of the opportunity to run for the title. That 35th place finish at Dover really dropped them way back. Dover, one of his better tracks. They came back the next week to win at Talladega, but some 67 points behind starting the day. It was going to be too far and too much for Kenseth to overcome. That said, if this holds out for another 2 laps, they're going to have won 2 of these races in the chase. And I know for some of the guys inside Roush Fenway Racing, particularly Robbie Reiser, it really gets under their skin when people talked about the lame duck and would they continue to give Matt their all.
Well, Matt's been a favorite over there. He's a really good people person. He cares about the organization, and he's just a tremendous competitor, and you can see that happening.
And the white flag is up. We're in the last lap today at Kansas. A race that's featured 14 cautions. A very tough toll on car and driver. Many, many rallies on the day, including this 17 from as far as 24th in the pack. Final corners here for Matt. Checkered flag is up.
Here's the checkers.
3rd win of the season, 2nd of the chase. Matt Kenseth wins at Kansas.
Ah, man. Up, guys. Way to go. Great job. Gosh, great job, guys. Thank you.
Brad Keselowski finishes 8th. Jimmy Johnson 9th. Denny Hamlin 13th. As we wrap up the 6th race in the chase and head to Martinsville with 4 to go, it'll be 7 points between Keselowski and Johnson. Denny Hamlin losing a little ground today.
Yeah, Clint Boyer with another solid effort. 6th. I know he wanted to do better than that in his home state.
Thanks a lot, you guys.
But Boyer's only going to be 25
Thank you
back.
guys. No, you guys are awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he does do a great job. I'm so impressed with Jimmy Johnson's team and how they kept him in this without losing a ton of points. So they keep him in the championship chase, and it's 4 to go. Never gets old, does it, Dale?
Never gets old. I don't care how many times you do it. You never know when that last one's going to be there, so enjoy it whenever it happens. I think he's got a lot more coming, but
That's the saying Mark Martin always said. He always enjoyed every win because you never know when the next one's coming.
So, a race that took a lot longer than normal here at Kansas today because of 14 caution flags. And now leaves us 4 races to go to decide who'll be the champion this year. Next week, Martinsville, the final short track race of the season. Then Texas, Phoenix, and the finale in Homestead, Miami. Join us at the track. NASCAR.com/tickets. Never know what you're going to see. Who would have thought this one would have played out the way it did?
Not me.
Meanwhile, in Victory Lane, Matt Kenseth is there, ready to celebrate. We go to Victory Lane, presented by Tire Rack.
Matt Kenseth getting ready to climb out here, and folks, listen in. This crew loves their driver. "95 laps ago, he was on pit road getting the fenders pulled out. He began to apologize and apologized all the way to the checkered flag. And they said, you don't need to apologize anymore. Matt, 14 years at this race team, and in a few weeks you're going to be gone. What does this mean to you? These guys obviously care so much about you."
Yeah, I mean, it really means a lot. I don't want to get too emotional about Victory Lane, but first of all, just really honestly, that's not going to work, is it? I really got to thank God and all the opportunities that he's put in front of me and all the guidance that he's given me through pretty much my whole life, not just not just all this going on. So I really want to thank Jack Roush, Robbie Reiser, Mark Martin. Without them guys, I would have never been at Roush Fenway Racing. And thanks to Zesprint, Fifth Third, Ford, Valvoline, Gatorade, Citizen, all our sponsors, and also big thank you to Doug Yates and Engine guys. You know, without all that power on restarts and to clear them guys, would have made my job a lot harder.
You can see what this means to him. He's leaving this team, but he cares so much. Nicole?
Do not call Matt Kenseth a lame duck driver, and do not say that this championship is over. 4 to go in just 7 points between our top 2 drivers. Brad Keselowski leads the way over Jimmy Johnson, the 5-time champion compared to a 1-time champion, but in the Nationwide Series. Next week, it's Martinsville, 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPN Sunday. Next up, it's SportsCenter with more coverage from right here in Kansas. Congrats once again to Matt Kenseth, his 2nd win of the chase.